We're going to continue to talk about how to design campaigns in Google Ads. And to do that, we are first going to talk about keyword matching with user search queries. Then we'll follow that up with a discussion on how to design ad creatives. And then we'll round this up by talking about how to make the designs of the ads more effective by adding what is called ad extensions to the ads. So this is the agenda. Let's talk about keyword matching first. So this is a slide that I have shown you before, and this shows the entire process of campaign design. And as you can see from here, the first step in the process is keyword selection, right? But after we select the keywords and create our campaigns as advertisers, how does Google actually match up these keywords that we have selected to the user search queries, right? So how does that happen? Because you know that only when user search queries and keyword match up, only then an advertiser becomes eligible to participate in the auction process to show their ads, right? So this matching, when does the matching occur, is something which is important to understand. And the idea also is that Google Ads does not do matching in some mysterious way. It actually provides many different ways in which the advertisers can choose how to match their selected keywords with the user search queries. So actually there are different kinds of matching that also have to be selected by the advertiser along with the keyword selection when they design their campaigns. So what are these different kinds of matching? We have what is called the broad match. And what the broad match does is, as the name also suggests, that it provides a matching of the selected keyword with the largest possible number of user search queries. And what that means is that whenever you as an advertiser select a broad match, you allow your keyword to be matched with the largest possible number of queries, allowing your ad to be eligible for ad auction in a very broad, in a very broad set of situations, right? So in some sense, you're casting your net wide whenever you are choosing a broad match. Okay. Now, sometimes you may want to do that. Sometimes you may not want to do that, right? Sometimes you may want to be more specific in when your keyword should match with the user search queries, right? So if that is what you desire while making up your campaigns, then there are other options called broad match modifier, which basically modifies the broad match, and also what is called the phrase match and the exact match. Okay, a very interesting part of matching is, or a kind of matching is what is called the negative match. Now, what is this negative match? Typically, matching says that when does my keyword match up with this query, right? Negative match says whenever the keyword that I'm selecting for a negative match, whenever this matches up with this search query, please do not show my ad, right? So matching is about showing of the ad. Negative match is about exclusion of certain search queries, because you as an advertiser are not interested in showing your ad whenever those search queries come up, right? So that's the idea of the negative match. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to take up each of these match types one by one, discuss a little bit more in detail about what these are, and try to also differentiate between them, right? So let's start with broad match. Now, broad match is the default match type, which means that whenever you choose a keyword, unless and until you change the match type to something else, by default it will always be the broad match. Okay. So whenever someone is using a search query, right, which matches up with not only your keyword exactly as it is, but also some relevant variations of your keywords, right? So then a broad match would occur, right? So of course we have to understand what a relevant variation means. So Google defines relevant variations to mean things like synonyms, right? So if somebody is using a word in their search query, which is a synonym of your keyword, then still that would be considered as a relevant variation. Okay, so misspellings, right, or singular and plural forms of words, or stemmings such as floor versus flooring. All of these are considered relevant variations. Now, actually relevant variations is beyond just these synonyms and misspellings, etc. Right? Sometimes it is possible that broad match may occur on a search query, even if that search query does not contain a keyword in your, does not contain the keyword exactly, right? In the sense that the keyword that you have has a different meaning from the meaning in the user search query. So in terms of their meaning, they are not the same, they are not synonyms, and yet broad match can still occur, right? And so where does this relevance come from then, right? Even if the meaning is not the same, how is Google claiming that there is some relevance out here? They are looking for relevance in a very broad sense of the term, and sometimes they also use customers' recent search activities as an indicator whether a particular keyword matching should occur or it should not occur, right? With their search query. So you can see that the idea of Google is to still provide a matching only when it has some sense. It makes some sense in the context of the customer who is using that search. So instead of talking more in terms of concepts, let me give you an example. So let us say that a customer is searching using the search query tennis rackets, okay? Whereas you are a seller of shoes, okay, and you also sell tennis shoes. So a keyword that you have selected in your campaign is tennis shoes. Now, this customer who is searching for tennis rackets, that search query may actually match up if you have selected a broad match for your keyword tennis shoes. Now, why is this relevant? Well, this might be relevant because broadly the customer is interested in tennis equipment, right? So the customer may also be interested in buying a shoe. And this makes even more sense if this customer has searched for tennis shoes in the past, in the recent past, right? So, therefore, for such a customer, even if that customer is currently looking for tennis rackets, a broad match would still occur if the keyword that you have is tennis shoes, right? And this is when you don't have a keyword called tennis rackets, right? So it is in that situation. So this is the idea of the broad match. Now let me show you some examples to explain this more. So let us say that the keyword selected by the advertiser is low carb diet plan. Okay. Now a user may be searching something like Mediterranean diet books. So once again, this kind of reinforces the example that I was giving you just now. Mediterranean diet books, right? There is no mention of the word plan out here, right? In this search query, but still Mediterranean diet book may match up with the keyword diet plan, low carb diet plan, because broadly speaking, when somebody is looking for Mediterranean diet books, maybe they're interested in planning out a low carb diet, right? So that is why a broad match can still occur. So this gives the maximum degree of flexibility in terms of matching of the user search queries with the keyword selected by the advertiser. So clearly what you can expect is that you will get the maximum number of impressions, or possible, there's a potential for getting a maximum number of impressions, because at least whenever a match occurs, the advertiser's campaign is one of the campaigns that participates in the auction process for that particular user, right? Now, sometimes moving on from the broad match idea, sometimes an advertiser may want more specificity, right? They might not want that, going back to my previous example, they might not want that a user query of tennis rackets should match up with the user query tennis shoes, right? So sometimes you want more specificity to your broad match keywords, and the purpose is to make them make for a narrower reach, which means the match will occur with a fewer search queries, but whenever the match occurs, it is more meaningful, right, for you as an advertiser. Okay, of course, the flip side is that now you are not casting your net as wide, right? Because otherwise you would bring in more number of people who might possibly be interested in your product. But whenever you're doing a modifier, you are kind of now reducing or cutting out some of those people, right? So how is a broad match modifier indicated? It is indicated by adding a plus sign before a word that you want to indicate as a modifier of the broad match, right? So an example out here is plus blue suede plus shoes. So you can see the entire keyword is blue suede shoes, and a modifier is added to two words, to the word blue and to the word shoes, right? It is not added to the word suede. So now what this does is that the matching for this keyword will occur only with those search queries which have got the words blue and shoes and or close variations of these words, right? So now very wide range in terms of variety that was possible in the broad match modifier is now no longer possible when you have done a broad match modifier in place of a broad match. Okay, so let me explain this a little bit more. So take the word suede out here. Now the word suede is not indicated as a broad match modifier, right? So if somebody is searching for, using a query, blue leather shoes, okay? Now, because the word suede is not indicated as a broad match modifier, a match between this keyword that you have out here will still occur with that user search query of blue leather shoes. Okay. Now, as opposed to this, if the word suede also had a plus sign before that, which means that the word suede also has a broad match modifier. In that situation now, this particular keyword will not match up with the search query blue leather shoes, because leather is not such a close variant of suede, right? So in this case, whenever you are doing broad match modifiers, the understanding what a close variation means it becomes important. And generally, this includes things like misspellings, again, singular and plural forms, abbreviations and acronyms, stemmings again, right? These kinds of things. Overall, the idea is that as long as a word that is being used in the user search query is kind of very close in meaning to the word that has been indicated as a broad match modifier, then a match is still okay to occur. But if the meaning is quite different, then a broad match modifier would preclude a match from happening. And if it is not a modifier, it is just a broad match, then such a match may still occur, right? So whenever you want to include some specific terms or concepts, and you want to ensure that these terms or concepts are included specifically in user searches, then you want to indicate a broad match modifier on those words in the keyword that you have. Okay. Now, another important part about or concept about broad match modifier is that it takes word order into consideration, right? So, and specifically if the word order is relevant to the meaning of the keyword. So, for example, let us say look at plus new plus York plus hotels. Okay, so a broad match modifier is applied to each of these words out there, right? So let us say that somebody searches new hotels in York. Okay, so it's the same words, right? The word new and York and hotels, all of these words still occur in the search query. But when because of the change of the ordering in this search query, the meaning becomes very different. This guy is looking for some new hotels in the city of York, which is not New York, right? New York is in UK. So now, you cannot really say that the meaning is similar. The meaning has become different because the order of the words became different out here. If you have indicated a broad match modifier, as in this example, a match will not occur. Whereas if you had actually had done only a broad match and not a broad match modifier, a match could still have occurred out here. Okay. Now, in case by changing the order of the words, the meaning of the keyword does not change, then in that case, the broad match modifier would not preclude the match from occurring. So for example, if we look at the keyword plus France plus hotels, now in this case, it will match up with a query which says hotels in Paris, France, right? So the reason for the match is that somebody is looking for hotels in France, right? And this matches up with the query France hotels, right? And one other aspect that comes up out here, as you can see, additional words are there, right? A word Paris is not indicated. It does not have an equivalent in the keyword, and that doesn't matter as long as the meaning still remains the same, right? So broad match makes again improves the relevance of the queries matching your keywords, but of course by doing that you can reduce your expected traffic. Okay, so here are many examples of how the broad match modifier works. Let me take the one in the middle, the one that talks about plus lawn plus mowing plus service, right? And you can see that because the word mowing is far away in meaning than the word aeration, so that is why the broad match modifier lawn mowing service does not match up with the user search query lawn aeration service, right? And whereas this match might have occurred if it was not a modifier and it was just a broad match, right? So again, again, lawn mowing service matches, but it does match up with grass cutting and gardening services, right? So there are, you can see that in meaning, the keyword lawn mowing service is close to the search query of grass cutting and gardening services, right? And the word mowing does not specifically exist here. The word lawn does not specifically exist in this search query, but because of the closeness in meaning, right, between the broad match modifier keywords and the user search query, this match will still occur, right? So in that sense, therefore, additional words are fine as long as in terms of meaning is the same. Take another example, by the way. Meaning may be qualified. Take the first example. It says men's shoes, right? Now, if this is the keyword plus men's plus shoes, it may match up with the search query shoes sale for men. Now, the keyword does not indicate any intention about a sale. Now, the user search query, however, has the word sale in it. So this is somebody who is looking for a sale on shoes for men, right? But this is an additional word, and it doesn't matter because the word men or men's, that matchup happens between the keyword and the user search query, and also a match happens between the word shoes in the keyword and the word shoes in the user search query. So the word sale is just additional out there, and that does not preclude a matching when you're using a broad match modifier, right? So These are some examples of how the broad match modifier changes things as opposed to using just a broad match. Okay, now let us say that you want to be even more specific, right? And therefore, you might want to use, instead of a broad match modifier on the broad match type, you may just want to use something which is called a phrase match. Okay, and this is the situation when you want to show your ads to customers who are searching for your exact keywords or close variants of the keywords, and additional words before or after are allowed, right? So again, what is the meaning of close variants of your exact keyword? Again, these are just things like misspellings, plural and singular, right? Some close synonyms, etc. Right? So here the meaning is really important. As long as the meaning matches up and the phrase that you are using, that phrase is appears in the user search queries either exactly as it is or with some minor changes that does not change the meaning, then you are good and a phrase match would occur between the search query and the keyword, right? Now, the word order is important in a phrase match. And what that means is that if a phrase consists of multiple words and if an unrelated word enters in the middle of your of the words in your keyword, then a phrase match may not occur, right? So let's take an example out here. The keyword is the word tennis shoes. And by the way, you can now see that the phrase match is specified by using a quotation, right? Double quotes. So that's what broad match modifier was specified using a plus sign, and similarly phrase match is specified with this quotes. Now, tennis shoes is the keyword, right? And let's say take a search which says tennis players that wear red shoes, right? Now the word tennis is there in the search query. The word shoes is also there in the search query. But what has happened out here is that additional words have been included in between the word tennis and shoes. And these words are players that wear red. And these are unrelated to tennis and shoes. And what that means is that it changes the meaning of tennis shoes. It changes the intent of the keyword tennis shoes, because now you're looking for, whenever you're using a query like this, tennis players that wear red shoes, you are not looking for tennis shoes specifically. You are looking for actually tennis player who wear red shoes, right? So the a phrase match would not occur in this case. By the way, in this case, if the word tennis shoes was specified as a broad match could have occurred, right? Because those additional words wouldn't have mattered, and the word tennis and the word shoes was there in the user search query as well, right? So this kind of shows how, again, the broad match is different from phrase match. Okay. Now let's take a few examples where the keyword tennis shoes actually does match up with the user search queries. So here, take the last one, comfortable tennis sneakers. So the word comfortable out here is an additional word, right? There is no equivalent to that in the keyword, but that's fine because the word tennis matches up with the word tennis in the keyword, and the word sneakers is a very close synonym for the word shoes. So therefore, a match would occur in the keyword tennis shoes and the search query comfortable tennis sneakers, right? You can and let me take another example out here. The third one in the list, which says that a match occurs, the word red tennis shoes, where the word tennis is a misspelling. Now that shows you that misspellings actually don't matter, and keyword tennis shoes would match up with the search query red tennis shoes, right? Now the first example reverses the order of the words. So this first search term says shoes for tennis. Now, because the order is reversed, it doesn't mean that match will not occur. The match can still occur because the meaning is still very close to the meaning of the phrase, right? And in this case, there is an additional word for, which is in between the words shoes and tennis. But once again, because the meaning is not changed, this does not preclude the match from occurring. Okay, so now let's take an example, and this is like a thought exercise for you. Let us say that you have got this bunch of phrase matches. Buy blue suede shoes, purchase blue suede shoes, shop suede shoes, blue suede shoes, suede blue shoes, and suede shoes blue. So if you wanted to replace all of these phrase matches with a broad match modifier keyword, what keyword would you use? And the purpose of this exercise is to show you that sometimes you can reduce the number of the phrase matches, right, by using a broad match modifier kind of a keyword. And so in that sense, your effort in creating a keyword list goes down because you are using such a broad match modifier instead of phrase matches. So it's kind of a trade-off between the effort that you put in to design your campaign and the specificity that you get, right? So take a quick break, stop this video and think about what could be an answer, and then come back and look at the answer that I'm going to discuss now. So the answer is that you could use the word plus suede plus shoes. And now you can see that the word suede shoes would actually match up with all of the queries that are similar to the ones shown on the left side of this table, right? A quick question out here is, why did we not include the modifier plus blue in this list? So we did not include the word plus blue because, if you look at the third phrase match keyword, it says shop suede shoes. Okay. So if we actually do include the keyword, plus blue out there, then it means that whenever a match has to occur, the word blue or a close variant of the word blue should be in the search query. And so by including the word plus blue out there, it would no longer match with the shop suede shoes version or that particular keyword. So to keep it broader, we have to exclude the word plus blue and only keep plus suede plus shoes. Of course, what that means is that this particular broad match modifier not only matches with all the phrase matches that we have shown you, it will match up with a lot of other kind of search queries as well, right? For example, it could match up with the red suede shoes, right? So that's something to keep in mind.